All right, so in this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to light a fairly large room. We got a chandelier lit right here, but what I'm going to talk about today is how to light it using only one light. We're going to talk about equipment. I'm going to show you the equipment that I use that I recommend, especially if you're just getting started. Even if you're a realtor and you don't want to spend a ton of money on gear, or like I said, if you are new to real estate photography, you don't want to be investing a ton of money right now because you haven't actually got any work, or if you're been doing it for a while and you're struggling, this video is going to be for you because this is the simplest I have made it. This is actually how I currently shoot. I've been shooting real estate for 5 years now, and so I have really always tried to come up with a simple method to make you fast on site and fast in the editing room, but with producing professional results. Because remember, if you're not producing professional looking results, you're not going to get hired, you're not going to get work, you're not going to be consistently employed by other realtors and Airbnb owners, people that have rental property. I mean, it's not just realtors. You got to open up your mind, but like, what is real estate photography and what kind of jobs are you going to be able to get from it to have it be a successful business? Because I know a lot of you out there, some of you are my subscribers, that you are wanting to break away from that 40-hour work week. You don't want to be sitting at your desk anymore. You daydreaming about getting out there and being self-employed and being able to do real estate photography full-time for a living. And maybe you have been doing it for a long time and now you've seen like the housing market's taking a shift and you're not getting as much work as you have in the past, and you're forced to maybe have to look at getting a second job or getting out of the business altogether. Well, I'll talk about some of the other options at the end of this video, what you can do to maybe save yourself from having to quit it altogether. But let's start out and look at this simple living room. I set this up just to show, basically I wanted to show the doorway right here, this window, and this is really, if I reset this is the ambient shot. But what I'm doing also in every single ambient shot is I'm also popping a flash above the camera. Now, the other tool is a shoot-through umbrella that I highly recommend. And real quick, before we get any further, I want to show you, this is the one I use. You can pick it up on Amazon. I'll leave links to all this stuff below so you can find it easily. But it's a tri-fold umbrella, and it folds up less than a foot. It's only just a little over 9.5 inches long, so it'll fit into your camera bag really easily. It's really small, but it folds out into a 33-inch umbrella. So the reason why I recommend using an umbrella is because you only need to be shooting with a single flash, because you're going to be pointing that umbrella into the room. It's going to soften the light. You're not going to get any hard shadows, but you're not going to need a ton of flash power. So if you're not going to use an umbrella, the only real way to do it and to get even light is to use the ceiling as your reflector to bounce that light up to the ceiling and then back down, filling the room. And that just takes a lot more, actually takes more than double the power output, and therefore you would probably want to run with something like the Godox 8600 or the 8200, somewhere in the middle, okay? And of course you're going to need a trigger to fire your Godox flash, and Godox is just the industry standard. I think Flashpoint is the knockoff brand, which is the exact same thing. So if search for Flashpoint too. But this is the trigger that you're going to need that goes onto your camera. And the reason why I like this one as opposed to this one, the XT, I believe it is. A lot of guys use this one. I like this one because it comes with that hot shoe on top, which I put my wireless shutter release on the top of that, and then I have the trigger for that on my belt. So everything is it just sets it on your camera really nice. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Again, links in the description, all this stuff, so you don't have to worry about searching for it on your own. And of course they are affiliate links. I think I have to mention that anyway. But let's get back to how simple this situation is. So the reason why I recommend you popping a flash off, also keeping it soft light so there's no shadows, I just popped a flash off here, is because we got it super bright back here. We're just trying to balance that light out more so, because without using flash for your ambient light, it's just the contrast between the shadows and the blown out windows is just so much. So if you are popping a flash, that means you don't have to completely blow out your windows. Therefore, you're able to use your ambient light more so. And we'll talk about how to use the ambient light to your advantage once we get into Photoshop. So I have to do my Laowa first bump. And because I'm using Laowa 7.5 millimeter, which is actually a 50 millimeter full frame, I'm going to come down here and show you. That's where we're on the Venus Optics right here. If you're searching for that, it is a complete 100% manual lens, manual aperture, manual focus, everything. And so that is it. And what it does is it corrects for the little bit of a lens distortion, and it gets rid of the vignetting, if you notice up there in the top corner. So make sure, if it doesn't do it by default, that you have to choose which lens you are using. Otherwise, you're going to have barrel distortion or whatever the lens, the copy of the lens produces. Lightroom does its best to fix that by creating a profile, and it's stuck in here under profile. So what I'd like to do is just copy those settings and then move on to my flash shot. Now, I didn't use a shoot-through umbrella for this, but I am going to get back into using a shoot-through umbrella, and I will again explain why once we get into Photoshop, because of the issues that this method can produce when using luminosity mode. And I'll explain why it's important to use luminosity mode, especially if you're going to be having lights on in the house or whatever. But really what we're doing is now we're just focusing on getting our window view for that flash shot so we can easily blend it. And again, this is where I wasn't paying attention over here. This is going to be an issue. I mean, it won't be as big of an issue as you can see, but we really want to get our window trim. That's why window pulls, if you ever watch some of the other tutorials about how to do window pulls, you want to overexpose for the outside of the window, like the window frame, and then use darken mode, is because it blends seamlessly together with your ambient layer. So what we're going to do is just get these layers into Photoshop. So once these two layers have been brought into Photoshop, notice normal is the mode. We're going to bring it down and watch the color. It gets rid of all that yellow color cast. And then what I like to do is just create a layer mask here. Make black your selection with your brush tool. I like my flow at 5%, so I can just slowly brush in. And I'm just painting back in that flash layer that was underneath. So now you can see behind this chair that we had some unwanted shadows coming in. But that's, that will be corrected. If you're gonna use a shoot-through umbrella, you wouldn't have that. And I'm gonna bring both these images back in the ambient layer and this layer that we're creating, and we can even paint over here, get rid of some of that. But look at how even that ceiling looks. All the color casts have been gone, and now I'm gonna flatten this, and then we're going to Command S to save it, and then we're gonna be right back into Lightroom. And this is the image brought back into Lightroom. I'm going to do my interior final bump, and that can be anything you want. I always have to adjust it. So the most exposured area, or the brightest part of your image, make sure that's pushed left of center. You have a line here. You have this line on your histogram, this line here in the center, and then the right line. You want to make sure that the bright part is pretty much right where to the right of that line right there. So that's a nice light. So let me just show you this real quick, is why I highly recommend using luminosity mode when it works, and most times it does. But let's zoom in here to this section and this section. Here is a comparison. Take a look at just the wall color accuracy, the furniture color accuracy here, especially the back of this chair. You're just getting a lot more color accuracy going on, especially that back wall where that yellow was hitting. So this is the importance. This is what's going to separate you from somebody that's not using off-camera flash, is your colors are going to be accurate. And again, look at the drapery right here. See that? It's like it's not giving you the correct color when you just use the ambient layer by itself. And also, too, here, check out the glare. We were able to, circular polarizer would help you in this situation if you if you're not using flash, if you're an HDR shooter, you definitely should be on a circular polarizer. But look at flash takes care of that. If you're a subscriber, I appreciate your support. And if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing, because I answer every single one of your comments or your questions. And I release tutorials all the time to help you grow your real estate photography business. Now, with that being said, here's the other thing you want to make sure you're well diversified in. You want to make sure that you're able to do corporate headshots. Just a simple headshot. You can do a one image, a one light setup with a reflector for fill light, because a lot of times you're going to be picking up extra work from the realtors, maybe able to do, group portraits or headshots for all different realtors. And you're going to want to be able to do video. It's very important that you're practicing video. I have some tutorials out here on YouTube on how to shoot real estate video, but that's going to increase your hireability. A lot of realtors, they can shoot the photos and everything, but not a lot of them are able to do video. And sometimes the realtors will use you to get a listing saying that we can market your house by doing video, and they're going to be confident enough to say that if they have you as a service provider, that they're going to be able to call and hire you to do the video for it. So leave me questions if you have any questions or any other tutorials that you want me to show you on other ways to diversify your skills or the different services that you offer within that real estate photography umbrella. Okay, so I hope that helps you. I hope you've learned something, and we'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.